facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. Thank you for joining me today. We're on an incredible Win-Win Women platform. I have an incredible guest today. We're on live streaming. We're on, podcasts coming out. I'm telling you, we're everywhere, and we're in season 2. This is, I think, episode 9 of season 2 already. It's pretty amazing how fast time is going. What do you think? So I can't wait to introduce you to Terilee Harrison, my newest bestest friend and mentor. But first, let's do our breathing exercise. It's a little 22-second mini vacation. We're going to breathe in calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 4, and we're going to breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. Ready to go? Breathe in some calm with me. Hold. Release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, there. So here we go. I met Terilee on March 1st. She was a guest at my event for International Women's Day, sponsored by Win-Win Women, at my home. And one of our other guests, Elian, one of the other show hosts, brought Terilee. Immediately fell in love. I mean, she's just precious and so impactful in my life right now. So I'm so grateful to have you. Thank you for joining me, Terilee.
I'm so happy to be here, really, truly. And I appreciated that 22 seconds. I needed that.
Well, we're so techie, we're so involved, we're so busy, we're on to the next thing all the time. And there's no reason not to take a few seconds and just take a deep breath. Remember to be in gratitude in everything, give thanks, right? Everything. So that's part of the lesson here. I am just totally amazed at what you've created since March 1st, right? Mm-hmm. The next week we went to see Kelly Lord and her book launch. She's the singer, the singing book author. This is amazing. And we went to that together and got to spend time together and got to know. And you said, I'm going to have a new program, and I'm starting it now. And you launched it within a month. Mm-hmm. It's called BRI Talks.
Yes.
Yeah. So Terilee, first of all, let's just tell us a little bit about who you are in this world. And then we'll talk about what you do.
Who I am? I am a child of God, a wife, a mother, a nana. I know you love being a grandma too.
And I'm a nana.
Yep, I'm a nana. I'm my third nana in my family coming down the line. I'll tell you, my friend, I wanted to be nana, but then when I became nana, that was wow, what an honoring place to be, to take your turn. Wow.
Truly.
Wow. Yeah. I just love serving people. And I will say that in my life, I've lived up until the time I was 50, I lived in 2 places. But then I started doing ministry work with my husband, and we just go where we get called to, where God calls us to, and life's been an adventure ever since we started doing that. I will say that, and I love being global. I love that more than I ever thought I would.
Well, I know you've lived in Singapore.
Yes.
Not everybody can say that.
Not everyone can say that. And it's still a surprise to me. It's like, did that really happen? Yeah.
And well, and you're in Texas now, and of course, the best place of all.
Of
And
course.
just ask us.
That's right.
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 So and you jumped in. You've been here just a year. How many years now?
In Texas?
Uh-huh.
We returned from Singapore June 2 years ago. So we're coming up on almost 2 years, and we went to Houston first, but then we came up to Arlington the day after Christmas. So we've been here just a few short months.
And so in North Texas, Fort Worth area.
Yes.
So you've only been here since Christmas time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You just jumped in, and you're in every networking group. You have I want my dear old, not that he's old, well, we all are, but anyway, he and I are both old.
We're mature.
Friend Jim Austin, you're in a TV show or a podcast with him. You just didn't let any grass grow under your feet.
It's interesting. I will say, I don't always do that. So like in Houston, I still came in from the post-COVID, I was doing online networking. And so I did not go out and get active in Houston. I didn't. So, so I was ready. And also I think it's different. Like we knew we were going to have involvement in the community, and I didn't want to waste time. So that was a lot of the impetus was, let's just go do it. I haven't done it. I'm ready. But Charla, anybody can make that choice anytime.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all choice, right? So your husband is a minister and a pastor or minister, and you are a preacher's wife, and you are doing incredible work in the community and have a passion. You have a passion for, like you said, serving, as I do. You have a passion for helping people get their story out, get past shame and guilt, and tell your story. And your story is very unique in my world. If you want to, we'll talk about that too. But just you created a whole course. What do you want to call it? It's called BRI Talks, BRI, bold, real, and impactful. Amazing. And it's a similar, it's kind of an offshoot of TED Talks, I think, that you're trying to make more real, and allow people to really tell their stories from a stage and train them how to do it.
Yes.
Is that kind of it?
It's kind of it. And it comes from all the things I've loved to do and all the things I'm good at. And so someone took a look who knows me this weekend, and it's a global speakers community. It's for faith-based business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit leaders. And this person who knows me for several years took a look. She says, "This is so you." Well, Charla and everyone, like, isn't that like the optimum? Like to be able to do what brings you joy and what you're best at? And so, yes, it's an opportunity to be a speaker. If you need some help, you can get training to learn how. Networking. So it's not just one event, it's an ongoing, we're going to meet each other as business owners. And I would love us to be able to do business, meet people, collaborate, refer, do business. And then lastly, way back when I did Toastmasters, and it's not that I was like, wow, I just really miss Toastmasters, but in my experience working with speakers as a coach, people love to come and practice for each other. And so I've included Story Power Hour, where our members can come and practice their speech for their peers, for me, and get some positive and honest, loving feedback, right? And so all these things combined, I want it to be a place where people who are newbies to speaking, people who want another platform to speak can come, and I want it to be a community where they'll stay because they love it, and they'll tell all their friends.
And for you to have really launched it. You've had the idea for a long time, but you have, and when your vision, your mission is to help at least 1 million people get past their shame, tell their stories, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And speak on that a bit,
Yeah.
because that's precious.
I was guided. Some of you may or may not know a sales trainer out of Central California named Eric Lofholm. And he's been in my life. He's been my coach. He's just been someone I enjoyed following. And I've actually worked with him for a period of over 2 years, up till pretty recently. But 10 years ago, Eric was sharing about this vision he had for his life, and that you could have a vision. And that's when I said, 10 years ago, I said, I want to help over 1 million people overcome shame in the next 25 years. But Charla, I didn't know how I was going to do it. Okay. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just published my story, published a book, and was doing some speaking about this is my story, but I had no clue what I was doing. And so I took that vision and I set it aside. I recently found, because I had put it in my Facebook cover photo, I went back 10 years to find it. Okay. And so there it was. And I was like, well, there it is. But then I was a very local person, meaning we lived like an hour above Los Angeles. Our community was about 600,000 people. I was very local. And at the time I was working with business owners, but not with speakers. Everything has all fallen into place that we can work through our story a bit, tell our story, the whole thing. And being global now, I say I was a pioneer in online networking before COVID. And I was, and so to bring this, we're already a global community as we get ready to officially launch next week. But I'm not afraid to say it's global, because I know it will be, and it already is. But it's just exciting. I thank God for the experience. I thank him for his patience in me setting it aside, but he knew I needed some tools. I needed some tools and experience to really go do this in a big way.
Well, I mean, you've got the logo, you got the website, I mean, it came together so quickly, which when you're obedient, when things are ready, it's not hard. We can press an easy button. And I believe so many people, and including myself often, it's so hard. It's going to take a lot of work. And if it's right, it really doesn't, generally speaking.
If it's right, it really doesn't. That is so true. And I will say this also, like, I don't do this by myself. And my team isn't huge, but I have like an amazing virtual assistant that's in the Philippines, and I'll call, Bless. I'm going to give Bless with one S, everybody. I'm going to give her a shout out. She's one of our Bible school graduates from our time when my husband was a dean at a Bible college there in Singapore. But Bless has been with me almost 4 years. And you know why? Because we had built these things before, boom, we have all the foundation just to go. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Because otherwise, yes, it is more challenging. It is more challenging. Yeah. That is all not an accident, right?
No. And so the technology piece is often, so daunting to try to get all of those they're not little, but they're a lot of moving parts to starting something that, and, I know May is your launch month, and you've already had, like last night, webinars about it. You've already got people enrolling and engaged. And I'm so proud of that. I mean, I just think that's beautiful. It's a great example for some of us, for sure. And you certainly have, I feel like you're blessing me personally in a way that is priceless. And just being friend and mentor, it's amazing to me. So thank you for that.
I'm very grateful for you. I'm grateful to have met you on March 1st. I'm grateful you hosted that event. I'm grateful Elion decided with 2 days left to invite me. I might have missed it. And we wouldn't be here. I don't think we'd be here. Mhm.
That's probably the truth. I wouldn't have known you were with Jim Austen. I mean, it was, I think that all of that came together beautifully. And, we want to have a reunion on that event, don't we?
Oh, we're ready. We're ready.
Mhm.
Mhm, mhm.
So I want to broach the shame topic.
mhm.
You told your story and you said you wrote a book about it in 2013, right? So you've had a lot of years now of exposure, 10 or so years of exposure of something that you were very, very ashamed of and not proud of. And can you think of anybody in the 8 billion people on this planet Earth that have not done something that they wish they hadn't done?
No, no, no,
Or that they are not, that they're ashamed of, or that they have guilt over, or they, is
no,
there
no.
any soul that does it?
Not alive on the
Not,
planet. Not alive on the planet today. Not alive on the planet today. But the thing is we don't talk about it.
exactly. And this is something that I wanted to ask that question. Who doesn't have something?
Mhm.
And something that is a common theme in my words is, can we change any of it? Can we go back? How much wishful thinking does it take for me to be able to change what happened before? So my way of saying is where I am is all I have. I don't have last second, last minute, last year, last generation. I only have this second and the next one, not the last one. And so when food for thought for people that are so hiding these things that happen to them or that they are ashamed of, I honestly, if you don't like it, tell yourself a different story. You get to choose. You don't have to, dwell in those secrets or in that muck of the past, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you, for sure, we're all affected by it, and some of us, it affects us more than others, and shame can be personal. What might happen to you that you might think is no big deal, to me, it could be just this life-altering thing, right? And so we sometimes, well, we're not talking about, so we don't necessarily know, but sometimes, some of us can really deter our life based on what happened to us and how we handled it. I was totally one of those people. And but I can tell you, I'll say this out loud. Someone I really care about was telling me today that in one of my intro videos that I had out, they was like, you can hold back a little on your story. You don't have to just, but the thing is if anyone looks me up, they're going to find it, Charla, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. So I'm like, I don't know. I'll think about if I should, what did I write down? Less personal video. Get a little
Well,
less personal. And,
but you throw it out there. You throw, and what you were most ashamed about was something you had no control over. Right? You were born
mhm, mhm, mhm.
with,
Uh-huh.
do you want
I spoke at my church this past weekend, and this is how I said it, which is true. I was born with an underdeveloped reproductive tract. I found out when I was about 12 years old, and I was ready to start my period, and there was no place for the blood to go, and I had to have surgery to begin starting my period. How's that? Does that
Wow.
explain it?
Pretty much. Except there's, there's the word.
No,
that-
I was born without a vagina. And
So
yes.
that's like, really? Never heard of that, right? So, but for you took that on personally, right? So personally
Yes.
that you couldn't function or that you thought you were not enough, you weren't good enough. And we all have something that happens to us that
You
we
do.
think we're not good enough. Every single person, I do believe, ends up with that
Yes.
somewhere. And sometimes it's just somebody said a word or whatever. But you really embraced that you weren't good enough.
Mm. You know, how it was presented to me, things from doctors like, your daughter looks like a museum inside. It appears she was a twin and the egg hadn't split. At the time, we didn't have the internet. We couldn't, go and look up things, and so, yeah, at 12, I took on, I was different than all other girls. And people have all kinds of horrendous things happen in their life. I didn't need anyone to abuse me, hurt me with their words. That was enough for me at 12, right? I could not deal. I could not deal. I did not deal. And I shoved it all deep inside, right? And my best, I couldn't tell, I was in 6th grade. I didn't tell my best friend, why I went off and had surgery. I could just go on and on. Like my parents, I think they did the right thing. They didn't want people making fun of me, right? But some people are listening and they can totally relate. And I have a good one for you. And it's it's just too bad. Like why can't the word vagina be as normal as nose and toe and hand, right? But unfortunately, in my case, it seems like it's just it seems like it's so personal. But there are people born without a hand and people born without things. And, part of the difference is on some of us is I knew, but nobody else knew. And then we'll get the shame. I have someone in my life. She's amazing. I can't wait for you to meet her. And she has beautiful dark brown skin, but people told her it was too dark and that she was ugly, how ugly she was. And she's a beautiful woman. And so there's the shame that that no one else knows. There's a shame you feel like everybody sees, right? It's just, and we need to learn what to do with it because we carry it.
So what if, so
Mhm.
I've thought about this, I have this incredibly beautiful little perfect almost 2.5-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mhm.
And I've thought about it over the years. If she is not what she looks like. Who she is not who she looks like. I'm not what, all of us. And what I had thought years ago that, if somebody was born without a hand or whatever, with what we would call a defect or, not perfect. Well, none of us are perfect.
No.
Right? None of us are perfect. So what if we could teach our children the esteem building,
Mhm.
Man, you're created so
Mhm.
uniquely,
Mhm.
more unique than anybody else that right now, somehow or another created as a uniqueness and a specialty.
Yes.
And a, more different. And we're all different. No two are the same. So
Mhm.
what if we could do that? Wouldn't that lift some of the shame a little bit, you would think?
I would certainly hope so. I think that being able to have people speak into that, if we would just speak up and say, I'm really struggling with this. Like, I don't know my friend with the dark skin, how much she talked about it. I think we take that stuff and we pull it in. I don't know that we have healthy conversations about those things, right?
Well, certainly not in the past, not in our
No, but we
raising.
could change the dialogue. We could
We
change the
can
dialogue.
now, and we've got
Mm.
a platform to do it now. So
Yeah.
your platform, BRI Talks, is about letting people have teaching them how to share their story so that we can relate with each other. And by the way, when you said 6th grade, I was like, I believe junior high is the worst place to be on the face of the earth. Anyway,
right?
I can't even.
It was the
Oh my
worst. It
gosh.
was the worst time for anything like that to happen, right? Right.
And that's when you don't know, everything's changing anyway, and your bodies and your pimples and your all that stuff, and
Yeah.
everybody is incredibly self-conscious, and we all think the other
Right.
kids are cool and have it all together, which
Right. And they
nobody
don't.
does.
They don't. They're
The
struggling
popular kids
too.
don't either,
They're
right? So,
struggling too. They're struggling
mhm.
too. Do you know what some of it is too? I think that we feel alone and isolated in our things. And if we only could realize that we aren't, and it doesn't have to be that way. And because that's a huge piece of it really is that you just feel like nobody else is going through this. It's just me, you know.
In my little tiny book, Candy Bar Hugs, that
Mhm.
one, whichever one,
Right over here.
whichever side it is.
Right over here
You
somewhere.
know, and
Mhm.
yeah, and I wrote, it was kind of primarily to my kids in a way. It was like I did what I did and I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just
Mhm.
like you did and are doing in your life
Mhm.
right now. I
Mhm.
love you. And I called it a forgiveness release in a way, just by,
Mhm.
oh, we're only doing all we know to do with
That's right.
what information we have at any given
Right.
time, right this second.
That's
Since
right.
let there be light, everything in the universe has been orchestrated for you and me to be having this conversation right here, right now, and any a new, there's no an infinite number of things could have your grandparents may have not met, or anything could have changed where we're not having this conversation right now, but we are. So we have been divinely guided to create this moment, or to enjoy this moment together. And when we can start this consideration that we don't have any other place to be than where we are right now, and we can't change any of those other things. So it doesn't make sense for us to take all that stuff in and think we're so bad. And so I would love to have that conversation start permeating into the youth, and
Me too,
let them know
actually.
that they are very, 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 very
Hmm.
unique and special,
Yes.
every one of us.
Yes. I'm so glad we're having this because this could definitely be an offshoot of what happens in our community. And I think it's so needed. I think it's so needed. Yeah. Yeah. If we could, I have no idea. I have no idea where you want to take the conversation, but
It's
speaking,
your show. You get
oh,
to
but
choose.
speaking of, for me, one of the pivotal things was, okay, for 30 years, I kept that secret. So from 12 to 42, I was not comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't good enough. And how that played out in my life and the choices I made and all the things this was not a good deal. Okay. But, what you said, it's true. There came a day when I was prompted to think about my childhood with talking to a coach, and he was like, oh, he's like, hey, what do you want to work on today? And I said, well, I'm disorganized. You walk in my house and it's clean, but in any cupboard, in any drawer, we can't park in our garage. Like it's just a mess. And then he says, tell me about your childhood. And I remember I was at a Starbucks with him, Charla, and I like sucked in my breath. I was like, oh, he thinks I was abused or something. And there's a lot of people that when you say, tell me about your childhood, would be, right? They've been mistreated, all the things. Uh, that wasn't the case with me. I said, oh, I had a lovely childhood. I did. I did. God bless my grandparents, my parents. Wow, unbelievable. How loving, supportive, and amazing they were to me. And I said, but I was sick a lot. And I went to the internet, and that's when I found out that I wasn't, some museums inside when the egg didn't split. I had a condition 1 in 5,000 women have, and they're not talking about it. They're not talking about it. And it's my people are the people that get the uterus transplants, if you see them on the news sometimes, right? And so for me, realizing I wasn't alone was a huge deal for me, humongous deal for me. But as I kept looking, that's when I began to realize that the people with MRKH syndrome, it's named after the 4 doctors that found it. They don't find out when they're 12 and ready to start a period. They find out later in their teen years, in those awkward years when they're not starting their period. And then they will find out they also don't have a uterus. So they're not having a period at all. And they find out in their, early to mid-teens that they're infertile. And I came to realize that in my case here, while everything doesn't look right, that here, oh my gosh, I had enough reproductive system to birth 2 children. Like this is not part of the deal. This is not part of the deal. And I was able to transform my belief from, because a lot of it's our belief, right? Transform my belief from being not good enough and junk. I've been junk all this time, to that I was a miracle and I had no idea. It's these types of things that if we can search it out, find the truth, got to be ready for the truth, right? But if we can really shift our thinking, change our life, change our confidence, change everything, change how we show up.
How we serve.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're brave and courageous to literally have written a book about that, and been able to open that conversation for so many, I'm sure. And you're is that, there's often do they have a society is what I'm trying to, is the word I'm
No,
saying, thinking of.
actually, these days they have meetings, and these days they have a Facebook group, right? But they didn't, then we didn't know, right? We did not know. Yeah, we didn't know. But
Wow.
it's amazing now that they can find out sooner. And they have talks, because one of the worst things is the psychological issues with it, not just the physical. The things you go through and how you deal with it, right?
Well, yeah, and just lots of surgeries and stuff like that.
All the things,
I've been,
because it's not just, it's kidney issues, skeletal scoliosis issues, the reproductive stuff. Yeah, there's a lot happening for these ladies. Yeah. And
well,
yeah.
so you have a husband that accepted you and loves you, and y'all have done ministry and he supports what you're doing right now, telling your
Yes.
story, and
Yes.
that says a lot. I just,
Mm.
the divorces, right? I've not had what I would consider a perfectly clean past. So,
Mhm.
but I wanted to be heard when I really got down to what was not working. And
Mhm.
I wanted to be heard.
Yes.
And I wanted to be heard for what I was saying, which is often jumbled, and also for what I wasn't able to say.
Mm.
And so it sounds like you have a partner
Mm.
that truly gets you and it supports your work.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet Terry and
Yes,
Terilee.
yes, that really is a blessing. He wrote the foreword when I wrote my book 10 years ago, and he said, some people are like, why would you, want to let her? And he goes, it's not about letting her. He goes, I don't think I could stop her. I feel so compelled, Charla, that because I believe God made everything, and so that means God made me, and I feel so compelled that he made me a miracle. Now, I didn't catch on for a long time, but it's like, no, this is a story to be shared. And I had no idea in the beginning about the message of shame. But that is the message. And I'm just ready to begin talking about it in a way that it allows others. People will say, if Terilee can talk about her vagina, I can talk about my such and such. And that's okay with me. And the truth is, I have one now, right? I'm good now. Been good for a
Exactly.
while.
So, we talk and this, I just feel like you're not literally, I said my new best friend, so I feel like I'm a collector of an incredible collector and connector of fascinating people. and you're one of them. I feel like I attract successful people willing to invest in me, as another mantra or declaration I used to say all the time. And it is just beautifully true. Right now, I'm attracting so many amazing people into my life that have talents and gifts that I get to glean from, and I'm grateful for that with you, Terilee. So your website, we can shift back and talk a little bit more, but I want to make sure we get Terilee is spelled
Mhm.
Terilee, all
Yeah.
one word, Terilee Harrison
Yep.
.com, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so, because many listeners on podcasts won't be seeing
Yeah, that's true.
the writing, so
That's
we
true. You're
always want to
right.
spell your name, because it
Right.
is not, I tried to put 2 R's in it for early on. I was like, wait a minute, no. So, and your husband, Terry, which is fun, Terilee and Terry. I bet you get played with
We get played
around
with a
that.
lot because he's actually Terry Lynn.
Oh no.
And so like our legal documents and all our important stuff, they're just a good time. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So it'll be fun to meet him at some point. But so what else? You've got this, let's get this on the table here, what you're doing with this BRI Talks, and how does that look
Yes,
moving forward?
I think that'd be awesome. Many of us know faith-based business owners and entrepreneurs, or how about people running amazing nonprofits, right? And this is for somebody that knows they have a story. Like, I felt so called to tell my story. And there are people like that feel this calling so deep. It might be for someone, we are talking to 2 different audiences, and one of them is an audience that may not even know they have a story. They may not know they want to speak, but yet they realize, oh, they do. And so it can be that you have your story. It can be that you have your cause you want to share with the world in the most impactful way. And it could be that you have a method. So I know you have an amazing story, Charla, but it could be that you want to share some of your awesome strategies about boundaries with the world, right? So you can come in and share, this is who I am in an impactful way. This is my strategy, like to get a beautiful video for a website, right? Of a most impactful talk. And so there'll be online stages, and there're going to be in-person stages. And but truly though, again, it is a community. It's going to be networking, coming together, practicing our speeches. It's speaking training. And I've created community before, and I'm excited. Someone said to me recently, will it be the same people? And there could be some of them, but I think there's going to be a lot of new people too, because this is a whole new concept. This is not just plain networking. There's some very unique aspects to this community. And but I want you to think about, if TED Talks, if you could promote your business, speak your message in the most impactful way, faith-based people, what that might look like. And that's what this is going to be.
I'm pretty sure most people don't realize that TED Talks are so restrictive. You cannot promote a business. You cannot advertise. You can't have sponsors. You can't have any of those things. And because when Women was going to do a TED Talk, and we got it all, that's where my event came up. He goes, we just want to have some events, but we want to be a sponsor. We want to have our name out there. We want to promote it. And I didn't know
exactly the crux. And maybe people don't know. And maybe people don't know that, like, when you apply, you have to like fit your message into their thing. And we're not here to bash it, everybody. No.
No. I think it's been an amazing
for the TED platform. Extreme respect, right? They have like 40 million subscribers, I believe, is what I've heard.
Wow.
Great respect, but yet this is a platform that will meet the needs of a lot of people. And so I'm just, I'm delighted to bring it to the world. I'm delighted that I love myself enough to want to stand up and bring it to the world. I'm delighted that I have the experience to be able to do this. And I just, I thank God. I thank God for all he's done for me. And I just really don't want to keep quiet about it anymore. I'm on mission now. I got a
Yeah.
million people to help in 15 years now. I'm behind. I'm behind, girl.
You got it though. I mean, you have the talent, that you talked about the experience, but this is what you've been doing anyway. You've been
I
working with
have
Eric Laughlin. I always say his name.
love.
And and he's a top trainer, and I believe you match him. And so you're stepping into something that I'm excited about too. It just sounds, you're just so enthusiastic, and it's your passion truly is expressed, and your gifts are just really being used. And isn't that beautiful?
I wish this for everyone. I wish that everyone could be, I was made for this. It took me 57 years to get here, my friend, but I know I was made for this. And I wish that for more people that they could sit in there. I was made for this and
The
know that
sweet spot.
yeah,
This is what I do. This is who I am. And,
yes.
so yeah, took me here. I am 70. So I'm looking at stepping in a little bit bigger role myself with having a workshop on boundaries and building legacies and things like that. So you'll get more information about that as we go. But yeah, that's launching for me right now as well. And to be an author co-author in the Change book series with Les Brown. And I just submitted my chapter, and this is a game changer if you ask me. So anybody that might want to have their picture on the cover of a book with Les Brown, and the highest level of mentoring and masterminding and marketing training comes along with it. So anybody interested in that, let me know.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so happy for you with the things you have going on. It's amazing.
There's a lot, and when I have my saying, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things show up. The world just starts opening up because you've taken an action, you've taken a step, you're grasping at that dream to be able to just exponentially, it starts happening fast when you're in the flow, and all those things, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna wind it up. Do you have any last words of wisdom or advice or invitations? How do you want to leave it with us today?
I would love to leave them information of how to find BRI Talks, and that's to go to Let's Talk BRI, BRI.com, letstalkbri.com. And if I can leave the audience with anything, just in the theme of this whole discussion, I said, I want you to always remember that you are good enough, you matter, and you are loved.
Oh my gosh, I say that at the end of many, many of my shows, not all of them, but I'm like, you're perfect exactly who and where you are right now. There's nothing you can do to be loved more or less by God. He loves you, you're loved, and it's time to love yourself enough. Learn to love yourself enough to receive that so that you can be more of a blessing to others. I say that sort of in a lot of my shows, and I just feel like it's the truth. You can't do anything. There's nothing you can do to be loved more or less by God, because if God is love, he can't be not love. He loves you. He loves you. And all of us have something we're ashamed of and wish we hadn't done, but he doesn't really see that right now. I mean, he just loves you because he created you.
Yes.
As you are. And get over yourself. Get over your small self, right? What about that? Get over your small self. I like that. So Terilee, thank you so much for joining me today. I just adore you, and I'm beyond gratified that you're taking me on as a project too. So, and
Mutual
you're
Admiration
precious.
Society, everybody.
Say that again.
A Mutual Admiration Society here.
You betcha.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. We're going to, I always like to end my show with the words, always, always, always choose joy. See you next week.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show. Encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.